You know, as you all well know, and you've probably read in the paper, and you're reading in other papers, and there's another article going to come out in the Chronicle probably this week. Metro is actually made up of 14 small cities, the city of Houston and Harris County. The board is made up of 5 members from the city of Houston, 2 are appointed by the small cities, and 2 are appointed by Harris County. Obviously, if you can count, you can see that the city of Houston controls Metro. The mayor of Houston appoints those 5 appointees and actually appoints the chairman. Metro began in 1978, and that's when the city of Missouri City chose to get into Metro, because at that time, I must say that Metro gave the city an opportunity to do things with our public transportation systems, streets, sidewalks, traffic signals and such, that we didn't have the funds to do. So there was an election in 1978, and Missouri City and the other 13 smaller cities chose to join Metro. Now bear in mind there are 23 other cities in the Houston Metro service area that chose not to get into Metro. Sugar Land, Stafford, Pasadena, Conroe, all of those are in Metro service area. In the legislation in 1978, it was set aside that you could take a penny of your sales tax that is paid in and devote it to Metro. And that's Metro's primary funding. They get 1 cent sales tax from the 14 multi-cities, the city of Houston, and Harris County. And I will say that over those years, I can tell you that we've done projects such as Cartwright Road, the bridge over Oyster Creek on Cartwright Road, Gessner expansion, the blinking yellow lights at school crossings, the traffic signal at Walmart and Highway 6, the Walmart at down, at Sienna Plantation. All of those were done with some money, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But in 1994, the cities of Humble, Missouri City, and Katy, which represent the 3 largest of the 14 multi-cities, Missouri City being the largest of those 14 cities, legislatively, because Missouri City is the largest by population of those 14 cities, I have chaired that multi-city coalition for the past 18 years. Legislatively, the mayor of the largest city chairs that coalition. In 1994, the 3 of us went to the legislature to get out of Metro. And the reason that we were wanting to get out of Metro is that the 3 of us pay in about 80% of the total sales tax of the total 14 cities, excluding City of Houston. They're the gorilla in the room. The 14 of us pay about $23 million a year in sales tax into Metro. Their piece of it. Actually, there's some 46, almost $50 million that goes to Metro, but anyway. In 1994, we had the ability to get out of Metro, but we chose not to for a simple reason that we thought that mobility, and still do, that mobility is a regional issue. It's not just concentrated in one particular area. But because we had the ability to get out, and we had the votes in the legislature to get out because of the political people that served on the Transportation Committee at that time, the 3 of us cut a special deal with Metro. And the deal is that we would pay our penny in, and we would get a half of our penny back, but we have to do mobility projects with that. We have to continue to fund street improvements. Those that were around during that time may remember that fund as being called the pothole money. That's what they call general mobility. Mayor Lanier, who was mayor of Houston at that time, saw that general mobility was as important as mass transit was to all of us. So he put into place the current understanding that's there today, that 25 cents out of every penny that is collected by Metro today goes into what is called the General Mobility Fund that you read about so much today. The General Mobility Fund. And that General Mobility Fund is what used to be called the pothole money, and it has to be used for streets, sidewalks, traffic signals, and all that other stuff. It cannot be used for transit. Cannot be used for buses, can't be used for trains, can't be used for commuter rail, can't be used for anything. It has to be used for general mobility projects. We thought that was a good deal at the time because we at least were going to get our fair share. So in today's environment, we pay in about $6 million. We did in this past year, about $6 million, and these are round numbers, don't anybody hold me to it, press specifically. These are round numbers. Paying about $6 million, that's our whole penny. And quarterly, Metro cuts us a check for half of that, comes back to the city, and that's what we use to do sidewalks, street improvements, traffic signals, maintaining the traffic signals that we have inherited now from TxDOT, because once the city of the city of Missouri City reached a population of 50,000 people, all of the traffic signals that you see in the city of Missouri City, even those along major highways, which is where ours are, Highway 6, 1092, Cartwright, Texas Parkway, we had to take those over and maintain them. We can do that with that Metro money because it's what's called traffic mitigation. In 2003, there was a rail referendum that you all may remember that was put out for the general public to vote on that said they wanted rail in the city of Houston. And one of those projects that was voted on in 2003, one of the 3 commuter rail projects, was the 90A project. The piece that goes from the Fannin Street Terminal to Missouri City. Now, needless to say, I know that none of you really have heard a whole lot about the 90A project because, quite frankly, they just kind of stuck it over to the side and have really not cared anything about 90A because they want it all in Houston. A year and a half ago, Congressman Green got very involved, Al Green got very involved in the 90A project really about 2 years ago and said, I want this project in my district. And says, why hasn't anything been done? You know, Congressman, they voted on it in 2003. They've not done anything with it. So before the current board that's in place today went out of office, and that was the former mayor's board, they passed a resolution in December of 2010 that appropriated $500,000 to do part of the engineering and environmental study for the 90A project. Now bear in mind, the 90A project has been under study for 12 years. I initiated the study 12 years ago. When that particular congressman says that it wasn't feasible to work and never would work, and we did a feasibility study that said it would. And that's why it was on the ballot in 2003. The Congressman Green went to the federal government last year and got $1 million earmark appropriated for the 90A project. Well, for those people in this room that read, earmarks were done away with, and so is our $1 million. So it's not there today. When you talk to Metro today about the 90A project, they will tell you point blank there is no money for it. Although in the last 2 weeks they've had 4 public hearings, one of them being right next door in this church, telling people that, oh yeah, it's still out there and probably 2018. I will direct you to a video stream meeting of Metro's capital budget meeting on May the 24th, and you can go look it up yourself, where they did away with the 90A project. Basically killed it and said it's only feasible to do buses down 90A and not rail. And there's no money for it. There is a move today In the 2003 referendum that passed what was called the traffic mitigation rail issue, it mandates that Metro have another election in 10 years, which is 2013, to either continue that general mobility funding or do away with it. Now, the rail proponents want it all. They want to do away with the general mobility funding. And when they do away with the general mobility funding, it all goes into the City of Houston's rail projects. That's our $3 million that we're getting in our current budget. If we lose that general mobility funding, people, it equates to a 13% tax hike, 6 cents on the dollar, for us to regain that general mobility funding. That's how important it is. To Katy, it's 37% property tax increase. The city of Humble will be broke. The city of Humble is a city of 27,000 people that has a police force that's 3 times what it needs because it has a daily population of some 350,000 people that come into that city every day, and they have to have that police force to manage those people. If they lose that general funding, they're going to be bankrupt. So what we're fighting for right now, the 14 multi-cities have the support of 3 congressmen and a number of legislators who signed a letter to the Metro Board that says don't take that general mobility funding away from those small cities. The City of Houston is proposing that the fee be capped, that it be capped based on the 2014 revenue number. Now bear in mind, people, that last year Mayor Parker passed a bond referendum called Rebuild Houston. And she passed that bond referendum dependent upon general mobility funding to retire some of that debt. But she's satisfied with the fact that her $65 million will grow to $85 million in 2014, and she's willing to cap her $85 million. I would too, if I were her. We're not. We're in a growing mode. The city of Katy is in a growing mode. City of Humble's in a growing mode. We're not willing to cap our funding rate at a 2014 rate, and they want to do it for 20 years. So let's say that rate was, let's say we had gotten up to $8 million in 2014 in our sales tax, and our half penny is at $4 million. They want us to cap for 20 years what we get back as $4 million. We can't pass that bond issue next year that we're talking about. We can't maintain what we're doing today if we have to do that. So the 14 of us have formed a coalition. 11 of the cities have hired a lobbyist, a very strong lobbyist, to help them with it. The other 3 of us are bound under a contract not to do certain things, and that's why I can't discuss that here. But I want you all to understand that you're going to get emails, if you haven't already, that are being blogged out there telling our citizens to email the mayor and the board of Metro that it's time Metro quit subsidizing the smaller cities. Do you hear what I said? It is time they quit subsidizing us with our own damn money. It's just a reverse. We're subsidizing Metro. It is our citizen sales tax that is going to Metro to fund their projects. They aren't subsidizing anybody. So if you get those emails, and there is a meeting being held tonight at Metro, a public meeting of which all I did was send a letter and say we've already said what we're going to say. But there's a public hearing tonight, and the rail proponents are down there saying, let's put it all in transit. Let's quit giving those small cities that general mobility funding. That's what the citizens want. You need to stand up and be spoken and be heard. I'm doing what I can on my end, and the 14 of us have the county on our side. I was just, this past Thursday, was invited to go to Dallas with Congressman Green to see what DART has done in Dallas. It is unbelievable, what they've done. But Congressman Green asked one question which I thought was very interesting. He asked the chairman of the board of DART why he thought that they had been so successful. He said, because we have a partnership with the citizens involved. They trust us. And the congressman looked at me and said, isn't that unique? I said, yeah, it is, because none of us trust Metro, unfortunately. I can pass this around to you and look at it, but guys, I will continue to keep you informed. It's going to take some work, legal work, that I'll discuss at our meeting in July, but from the general public standpoint, don't let them tell you that the general mobility funding needs to go to transit in Houston, Texas. We've got to have it, and we're going to continue to do it. And I'll keep you all informed the best I can.